Today, I'm going to pull back the curtain and show you how I captured this really beautiful image of Holly in this Canberra church that came as a runner-up in the International Wedding Photographer of the Year Awards for solo portraits. Hey friends, I am James. I'm an elopement and wedding photographer who travels all around the world, from Japan to Australia to New Zealand, to capture couples in love who really want something a little bit more rad and awesome. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the lighting, direction, how I captured it, what I used, how I edited it for this image to give you a full breakdown of what went into it. And by the end of this video, you'll have a full idea of kind of how I captured this, and also some hints and tips if you love this kind of style of photography, as what you can do to actually get into it more. It doesn't matter whether you're a professional or a newcomer, this information is for you. So firstly, I want to talk about competitions. I think competitions are one of these things that people typically might think, oh, well, you know, there's no point in me entering it because I'm probably not going to win. There's no point. This is a mindset I actually used to have. And the truth is, you've really got to get past that. It is a bit of a scary thing to start with, thinking, oh, well, once I enter it, I'm not going to win. Like, what's the point? But the bottom line is, you never know. And for a long time, I had that thought as well, thinking, look, you know, this stuff is nothing too special. You know, the imposter syndrome kicks in and it gets you, right? But then after this, I was really overjoyed and surprised as well that I came as a runner-up, which is a really massive thing. I want to talk about mindset. I think mindset is a really important thing to get into when it comes to this idea, or the idea behind me submitting this image here. I think the thing with competitions is they do force you to take a little bit more of a creative risk sometimes and try to think outside of the box sometimes. And you should be doing this anyway for your creative work. It's good to get kind of the usual images that couples love. I think as well, thinking outside the box and just doing what you love is a really important thing. And as I say, if I hadn't have actually taken the time to try and submit this this photograph of Holly, I wouldn't have done as a runner-up. So I really advise you, go and give it a try. It's really important. So let's talk about the actual image itself. Let's talk about how I created it, what the mindset was behind actually taking this image. So when it comes to my own art style, I'm really influenced by a lot of art and a lot of cinematographers. So for example, Denis Villeneuve, I'm definitely not pronouncing his name right. He directed the new Dune and Blade Runner films, but also people like Christopher Nolan, and of course, one of my biggest influences certainly are the Dutch masters. So this is Rembrandt, Vermeer, Caravaggio, all of these people who really painted and understood light way before cameras existed. This is what's really inspired this very dark and moody look that I'm associated with. I'm going to talk about it in another video coming up soon, but for me, the creative element of it has always been to create a bit more drama and tension in my work, and that is why I love dark and moody style. It's why I like shooting from the shadow side. It's why I like turning all the lights off and down. It makes a really big difference. When it came to capturing this image, I'll walk you through kind of the location and where it was captured. So it was actually captured at one of the small churches in Canberra. This is actually in Holly's wedding day as well. Holly found me because she really loved this dark and moody style I had and really wanted to get some images like I'd done before. During the ceremony and everything, inside the church, the lights were on. Again, we live in the modern age where, you know, candles aren't going to be lit everywhere for most circumstances. It's going to be overhead fluorescent lighting, which is absolutely fine. But this image was actually captured after they'd had the ceremony, come out of the church, and then we were able to go back in and control the environment a little bit better. So yeah, again, with churches, you're going to get so much stained glass windows. Stained glass windows are just absolutely incredible, and I think it's definitely a photographer's role to go in there and understand how natural light works and definitely see the opportunities there, and that's exactly what I saw in this instance. When I went in there, bless the priest, he was like, oh look, you know, we can turn all the lights on for you again, and I told him, I was like, no, we want all of them off. Like, let's turn all the lights off. I really want to take advantage of the natural light here. And this is the first really big tip I would give you. Don't be afraid to take control of the environment. Sometimes if you're new to wedding photography or an area, you might feel like you're kind of imposing a bit, saying, oh, look, you know, I don't want to make a fuss. But this is how you get great photos, by controlling the light and taking the reins of everything as well. This image was captured with low light. There was no artificial lighting in here whatsoever. It was done completely purely with natural light. I'm actually going to go, and I'm looking at it right now. I'm going to go and grab it. I got it printed out and framed because I love this image so much. This is it here. I'm really trying to make sure my camera captures it. Absolutely love this image. It's so beautiful and so perfect. I'm actually going to put it over here. It's an easy talking point, right? It's pretty good. So yeah, again, this is the other tip. Definitely do embrace the low light. Don't be afraid of turning all the electric lights off. Natural light has an unrivaled ability to create shapes and beautiful flattering light that really works so well. So for me, I use two Canon R5s in my wedding work, typically with a 24-70 f2.8 RF lens, and then I'll switch between primes and another zoom lens as well. I've actually put the details of the settings I used up here as well, so you can all have a look at this. The great thing with Canons and these really high-end cameras is that they work really well in low light. The problem is if you get an entry-level camera and you try and whack the ISO up, you're probably going to start getting a lot of crunchy grain in there, which is going to cause deterioration of the image. It doesn't look great. But if this is where you're at the moment, don't fear, because Lightroom has some fantastic new noise reduction capabilities, and even I used a little bit of it in reducing the noise in this image. So to actually set up this image, as I say, turned all the lights off, I've got Holly right in front of this beautiful big stained glass window, and this is where then I got into posing and directing Holly as well. So with my couples, I actually really hate posing people, just because I think that it's a lot more authentic for people to just be themselves together. However, when it comes to things like this, it's really fun to take control of the situation, really try and create this image that I've been inspired by and I can see in my mind's eye. So with Holly, what I wanted to do is have her point her feet 90 degrees basically towards the light, and then I wanted her to look over her left shoulder at me as well. This created a really nice contrast with the shape of the veil as well, coming down, all the light hitting it as well, and just this very soft light coming onto her shoulder as well, which was an absolutely beautiful thing, especially with her golden crown as well in the hair, also creating that kind of shape for the veil. And this is what creates this really beautiful depth and dimension to the image as well. It creates this really moody look, and it certainly does have that element of chiaroscuro to it. If you don't know what chiaroscuro is, something worth looking into, but long story short, it's basically this very classic thing where you have a big contrast between light and shadow. Rembrandt used it very famously with his triangle, this thing called the Rembrandt triangle. Have a look at it, it's absolutely fascinating. It's basically about having a little triangle of light just on the cheek area here when you position someone, and yeah, again, it just gives this three-dimensional depth to the image. And as well, when it comes to actually capturing people, it's a very normal thing for people to feel really awkward. So yeah, again, just relaxing them, having a nice time makes a really, really big difference. So with Holly here, I had a really simple technique. I basically said to her, right, I want you to look over, I want you to point your nose over here, and then I want you to close your eyes, and when I say 1, 2, 3, open them. 1, 2, 3, open. And this creates this really beautiful natural expression that lets you connect with the camera instead of being like, when are you going to take the photo? When are you going to do it? It kind of really helps just ease into that, which is really good. And I think as well, in this environment, in the church, again, you've always got to be respectful. So this is a very, very quiet, very chilled out thing. I get very, very energetic on my sessions if people know me very well. I get very, very enthusiastic about this stuff, but it's definitely about having this quiet confidence as well to really make people feel very calm and to really lend to the atmosphere. So let's talk about editing as well. So editing this image, I always tend to kind of be a little bit underexposed. I tend to kind of drag the exposure down a little bit, but my big thing is with my preset, which I've developed, is really about bringing out these really cinematic colors. So for example, you've got subtractive saturation, I think it's called, other kind of hue adjustments as well, tone curves. This is something certainly I'd recommend all photographers to look into. There's a whole thing I could talk about this in a separate video about presets and everything, but for me, my editing style is quite dark and moody. It's quite subdued. I have selective saturation in certain elements, but I really want to prioritize getting the skin tones looking natural and normal as well. And also because of my style of dark and moody, I really believe in kind of leading the viewer's eye to where I want them to look. And in this case, it really was Holly's expression, Holly's arm here as well, really trying to hone in on that. So this is where you'll use stuff like radial filters, selective painting as well, really trying to bring people's eye in here. And this is what I did here as well. In terms of the background, there wasn't too much background to remove, but yeah, again, with me really exposing the image a little bit down, it helps remove any background clutter as well. Color grading as well is another really, really important thing. Yet again, I could talk about another video about this, but color grading your work is really, really important. It's something I've learned from film editing as well. And also working with analog film, 35mm, etc., learning about colors, tone curves, and all that stuff. Certainly, color grading your work is really important. And for this, I wanted it to feel a little bit warmer as well, because it was quite a nice cozy church as well. So I added a little bit of warmth into the shadows there as well to give it this slightly vintage feel as well. I actually use another post-editing software called Exposure X5, which I put in for my grain and a few other tweaks and touches as well, which really helps just add this little bit of an extra polish to the image. I think another really big thing with this as well is client communication. So I was really fortunate. Holly, as I say, when she found me, she really, really fell in love with my work, and it was really very very humbling to hear how much you know, she really wanted these dark and moody images. Right from the get-go, this is something she communicated to me, so the whole time my mind was whirling, thinking, oh my god, what are we going to do? This is great. And then, as I say, when I went into the church, immediately you could just see what I was going to do there, and I could see exactly where I was going to have her and what I was going to do because of the way in which the church was built, how beautiful it was, the stained glass window. I thought, yep, I want a moody, cinematic kind of portrait in front of the stained glass window. And I think this is another really, really important thing to communicate. This is another really, really big tip for yourselves here. Definitely communicate with your couples that images like this can't be made in 10-15 minutes. This is something that does take a little bit of a time to actually create and craft, as it did with me here. The thing is, if you go into an area and you say, right, I want these award-winning images in about like 10 minutes straight, you need time to warm up. You need to get in the zone. You need to have a little bit of a play around. You need to have a little bit of a think. Whenever I'm creating these images, there's lots of images you don't see. I think it goes without saying that a lot of the time you'll actually see images like this which are beautiful, but you don't see all the other ones I created and which one made the cut as this one did here. So because of that, I really appreciated that Holly trusted me so much and gave me enough time to actually create and work here. And this is another thing, you need to have time to create. If you don't, you're going to feel rushed. You're not going to have the time to play around with ideas and create something that really, really works and it's just really, really outstanding. And this is something as well to talk about during the timeline planning process as well. You know, if you do have a couple or you are thinking about your wedding and you're thinking we want 10 minutes, I really, really, really would advise usually about 3/4 an hour, so an hour and a half usually for couples photos, just to give the time there. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be this long drawn out thing. I always say to couples, bring along food, drink, water, your friends, whatever you need, and we'll create something awesome. But you do need the time to create something really good. So being honest, whilst this didn't actually win the actual main award itself, I was absolutely thrilled with it. It actually spurred me on more and more and more to enter more competitions because, yeah, again, to me, I don't know if you've had this as a photographer, you kind of get used to your work. I sometimes have to remind myself that what I'm creating is really, really awesome. It's very special to couples. It's memories ultimately. We're here to document memories and events for people which will fade. I think that's such an important thing for us to do. So my advice to you, if you're a hobbyist or you're a professional, pick 3 images you really, really love you've taken from this year and go and enter it in a competition. Even if you think it won't win, just do it. I promise you, at the very least, you'll learn something. You'll get some feedback perhaps as well, which is really good. But I highly, highly encourage making the actual leap to actually try and do that. You might be surprised because the thing is, you could sit here and say, no, there's no point, I'm not going to win. But then there's the other side of what happens if you do. What happens if you do enter a competition which gives you $1,000 towards new photography gear? What if you win that and that turns out then to give you the new lens you've been looking for, that you can start capturing something you've always wanted to do, and that thing that you start capturing actually leads you to doing more of what you love and being able to enjoy this more. I think that small risk there of thinking I didn't quite make it can help you reflect on stuff, and it can make you feel a little bit uncomfortable as well if you're new to it and like you do get pushed back. And I've had that before as well. I've entered competitions so many times and I've not won a thing. I've not been a runner-up. I've just nothing. And you know what? That's totally fine. And I think that is the attitude you've got to have. We've got to be winners. There's got to be losers. Not really losers, but people who obviously didn't win. And I think you've just got to put that to the back of your mind and just go for it. Just give it a chance. What's the worst that could happen? So that's a little bit of a breakdown as to how I captured this really, really awesome photo of Holly, which, as I say, runner-up, very, very close, but still had a great time doing it. If you'd like more tips and advice, all this stuff, please do give me a like and subscribe. I like to keep coming out with more informational videos like this as well. Also, feel free to follow me on Instagram if you want to see more of my work. In this, I love talking about each image I capture. So if you do have any questions about any of the images I've captured, you would like a breakdown of how I shot something, please do reach out. I love talking about this stuff. It's really, really fun to actually break it down for people as well. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Hope you learned something. Any questions in the meantime, let me know. I will catch you later, and thank you very much. Bye, guys.